Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Stack. I'm Rob here with Bitcoin News. We got Jody from 21 Rates, and today we got a special guest, Kyle Huber. Hello, everyone. I mean, today is absolutely wild. We've got presidents being extracted out of Venezuela. We got Greenland for sale. We got water heaters that mine Bitcoin while you take a hot shower. The world is a wild place. It's an AI revolution. It is a Bitcoin financial revolution, and we are in the middle of it all, documenting it here every single day, live, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Join us on the Daily Stack. We're having fun. It's the Friday Stack, and we're giving away Bitcoin. It is no better time to be live than right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Gentlemen, how you doing today? Jody, tell us.
I'm doing excellent. So we came in yesterday. We had a little bit of haters like, why do you all guys like wearing hats? And I was like, look, we need a 2-hat limit. We need a fixed supply of hats on any stream. So Kyle, our guest, you're taking the hat today. Rob, obviously, always looks great in the hair. Me, this is like a perm commercial or something, but this is what we're rocking today. So we listening to you. We're responding to the hate, the comments.
Nice. Yes, we're embracing debate. Kyle, what's up, my man?
I love it. Stoked to be here. 2026 is the year of using Bitcoin, guys. People are going to figure out that this thing is actually money, and I think this is the trend to look out for this year.
Very good. Yes. So, Kyle, quickly introduce yourself. Tell the people what you're working on in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm a filmmaker. I hold a camera, and I also have a podcast, We Are Satoshi podcast, currently editing my documentary out of Bulgaria about Bulgaria's Bitcoin adoption. It's called Build on Bitcoin, and I'm looking to publish that, release it in April. So that's the goal. Working hard.
Let's go, dude. Very much looking forward to watching that film. And today, we're going to take a look forward into 2026. See what kind of Nostradamuses we are. We are going to have a Mount Rushmore competition where we throw out our predictions for the year ahead. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? It is up to you to decide, but we will give you our best bets, our highly researched, much thoroughly combed over ideas for the year of the Fire Horse 2026. Yes, so on these Friday stacks, we like to have fun. We like to play some games, and of course, we're going to be giving out some Bitcoin too. Jody, why don't you tell them about the site?
Yeah. So what we're doing every Friday, 21rates.com/stack. You also have a QR code in the bottom right. What we're doing is you go in, you create an account, and that's just where you plug in any Lightning wallet. We want people to be using Bitcoin. It's super easy these days. Our friends over at like Rhino, also like Wallet Satoshi, some great free options so that you can accept Bitcoin directly into your wallet. We don't want to hold it for you. It's a hot potato we want to give you immediately. We also have some cool stuff like some daily spin wheels that you'll see on the stack page, some ways to like learn and you know, get involved. I think that's the biggest thing we've seen, getting no coiners excited about Bitcoin. Is just give them some, have them spend it. Lightning's way easier than it used to be 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Obviously, it's like Venmo. So go to 21race.com/stack, log in, and about 1 hour from now, one listener is going to win some sats.
Beautiful. All right, should we get into the competition?
Let's go.
Let the games begin. We need some music for this part. All right, Jody, you good? You gonna pull it up? Nice. Let's go. Oh, Apocalypse. That's what's
You already picked for me?
Please get placeholder. But no, blank slate. Popular Rasa.
Friday stack.
All right.
6 predictions. All right. Yes, Kyle, you're the guest. You're up first. You get to pick. What do you think is going to be the biggest prediction of yours for 2026?
Wow. Well, as much as things are getting wild and everywhere you look, there's chaos, there's wars, it seems there's this feeling generally in society that things are close to the end, or we're in some type of transition period. I don't think it's happening this year. I think we've got more time. I think the fiat system is gonna trickle on for another couple years. So I think this is the year of using Bitcoin, building on Bitcoin. As much as I would love to call for a 350K Bitcoin price, I think I think, guys, we're going to have a bearish year. I think it's going to be 2 red candles, 2 back-to-back years. And this is going to be the year that you tell your grandkids about, where you stacked, where you got a Bitcoin miner, where you got in the game. And I just think it's an incredible opportunity. So happy to be here. At least that's how the year's starting, under 100K Bitcoin. I think in one day that'll be OG status.
Wow. Starting off with the bear.
How do we write this? You have the bear? Do you want to write
fiat bear? In Bitcoin, you know, your Bitcoin stack's going up more this year because of the fiat bear. I think that's my number one.
Okay, you're a bear. Interesting. Nice. I mean, yeah, right now we're pretty much at the pivotal level. I think if we lose this 90K, then we are sort of in look out below. Was watching some financial astrologer, and he was saying that this is not a good year for Bitcoin, digital assets in general. It's actually funny that this is the fire horse year, and Bitcoin.
Sorry to interrupt. It's the year of the bear. What is the year of the fire horse, Rob? Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, every 12 years, of course, the Chinese zodiac changes, and they have different flavors to them. There's the water, there's the fire, there's earth. And I think Bitcoin was born during a earth mouse year, and the fire horse and earth mouse do not go well together. So it could be a tough year from Chinese astrology as well for Bitcoin. Interesting. Well, then, I mean, I'm going to have to take the other side of that bet. And I'm going to say we're grinding higher. The death of the 4-year cycle. Death of the 4-year cycle is 2026. We set a new all-time high. I think this first quarter might be sort of tricky. But I think my other prediction will set up why we're going to see a new all-time high. But it's going to be a grind. It's not going to be a blow off top. It's going to be a slow grind up, because we have entered into a new paradigm with Bitcoin. Institutions are here. We've got Bank of America telling its clients to get in 1% to 4%. We've got Morgan Stanley offering spot Bitcoin buys on E-Trade, as well as creating their own Bitcoin ETF. And of course, Fidelity is telling its clients to get in. BlackRock's telling its clients to get in. And of course, Vanguard bent the knee and is now offering Bitcoin ETFs to their clients. So due to all these institutional headlines that really swept the floor in 2025, but it won't come effect until this year, that is why I think that we will grind higher. And yeah, I think the boomers aren't scared of a 90K Bitcoin. They don't think that's expensive. So they're willing to jump right in. Jody?
I love it. All right, so go a little bit different here to start. My prediction is an East versus West, BRICS versus West split on global trade. I think we've talked about this for a long time, but we're actually seeing it, come into play with Venezuela. I think people are nervous with. You look at Russia and like how they are doing, dealings with China in yuan. They're using like a digital yuan. But there's going to be a bigger move made. I think we're now at the tipping point where there's going to be a split. And as we look at like China and Iran and what's currently going on in Iran, that's the big prediction market. A lot of really hot prediction markets right now is like what's going to happen with Iranian oil and their reserves. If the U.S. is coming in and gobbling up and using our chess move to grab Venezuela, what is going to happen with trade settlement internationally, what's going to happen with Iranian oil reserves, and what are China and Russia going to do, as they've seen with sanctions, as they've seen with the entire US dollar system. They do not want us to have control, and that we have a little more control than most people growing up know that you have, using, controlling the world reserve currency. So I'm thinking this is the year of the East-West split, BRICS versus the West.
So how do you define that, though?
I believe beyond China and Russia, there is going to be a large trade settlement partner between those three that gets added, and is settling in something other than the US dollar, such as stablecoins or Bitcoin.
Oh,
yes, but I'm also bearish if they choose the Chinese like digital yuan to trade in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I'll push back on that, and I would say I think if they're going to find a neutral reserve currency for themselves, they're going precious metals. They're going gold and silver. I think they're very ancient, old societies who have a long history of using those two precious metals, of course. Whereas America, I think would benefit us more to lean into Bitcoin because we ain't auditing Fort Knox. That was the talk of this time last year, but that didn't happen, right? It's 12 months later. They still have no idea, or at least they haven't told us how much gold America actually has. So I think it would be beneficial for America to lean into Bitcoin and let these guys have fun with their precious metals.
Yeah. Also, China has like the silver restrictions. So how's that going to, it's going to be interesting to see like how they control that, but then also trade with someone like Russia, who's just like mainly like oil based.
All right. You get to pick twice, my friend.
I'm going to say this is going to go on the positive side. A G7 country actually gets a real strategic reserve. We're not talking, a very small country. We're not still talking about El Salvador, which is great, by the way, but we need more countries adopting. We need, the actual store value use case to be proven and to others to see it, not just countries with a lot of hydroelectric power that can easily just turn on a few miners and it makes economic sense to do so, but those that truly believe this is a store of value, long-term digital scarcity in Bitcoin. So I'm going to say G7 strategic reserve.
Nice.
I don't know which G7 country, so don't ask me that. Keep it broad.
A big boy is going to step up to the table. Do you think that that's possible, Kyle? Do you think that we're going to see?
Absolutely not this year, guys. I hate to say it, but I think we're far more likely to see a banking failure in a G7 nation than a G7 nation adopt Bitcoin as a reserve.
Yeah, well, you just sort of stole the words out of my mouth. That was going to be my next one. Is that I think there's going to be a European financial crisis.
That was going to be my number 2 as well. You beat me to it. Yeah,
it's going to start there. I mean,
what do you think? Europe, France, Germany, one of these big ones.
France, Germany, UK, they're all in horrible economic shape.
Mm-hmm.
They've really gutted themselves in terms of manufacturing. They spent the last 20 years getting themselves all in a tizzy about climate change and reducing their carbon footprint, while at the same time China is just doing 10x a Europe in terms of CO2 emissions. So now they're finding themselves in an extremely hard place. They've got an immigration crisis. The mood on the ground in these countries is extremely dire. There's lack of social cohesion, and there's very little industry to back up these huge debts that they are compiling. So yes, I do think that there's going to be a financial crisis coming out of probably either France, Germany, or the UK.
I would include Canada and Australia as candidates for that as well, potentially Canada. But yeah, no, that's it. They're also, so not only are they, destroying their oil production with these green initiatives, they're also pushing out the people that are actually productive in their societies. Rob, you and I have traveled to El Salvador. I'm going to Colombia next week. We're meeting people all over the world that are entrepreneurs, business owners, and they're saying, look, I don't want to pay for this system that's a total train wreck. I don't want to support increased military budget in Europe. That's what they're doing. They're trying to take private capital. If you leave your capital in Europe, it is at risk of literal confiscation and to be allocated towards military expansion budget. So yeah, I think a lot of people are seeing the writing on the wall and they're getting out of there. And that's another factor in why I think these countries are so fragile right now.
It's true.
And I just want to say, I don't think that's happening as much in the US. So US, I think, is unique in that way where we still have a culture of entrepreneurship. Businesses are still relatively excited to build. So yeah. Is it my pick?
Yeah, just to end on that though, the top 2 countries with the largest number of millionaires who fled. Number 1 last year, China. Number 2, the UK. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're most talented, they're richest. It's like it's Atlas shrugged, right? I mean, the top entrepreneurs just don't see any benefit in trying to provide value to a society where they're just being robbed from completely and not respected, right? At least I think in America, we do look up to people who are able to create and be productive and provide jobs and services for others on a large scale. So we got that going for us at least. All right, Kyle, you're up. You get back to back.
Oh, two. Okay. So what I'm thinking here is there's going to be another, or at least another major psychological operation of some type in the U.S. I don't know. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think it's going to be something that leads towards the continued infringement on privacy, speech. I think that there's so many ideas that threaten the current powers that be, the war machine, the banking system. Those ideas right now, they're about to sprout. They've grown, they have roots, they're permeating through social media, whether the social media is a centralized one or on Nostr. But I think we're going to see an increased clampdown on that. I just saw some clip of a guy saying, what did he say? We need to limit the First Amendment in order to protect the First Amendment. That's the type of 1984 George Orwell nonsense that people are not buying. Anybody with critical thinking abilities not buying that. So US psyop, there it is.
Yeah, some interesting things that correspond with that. I saw a letter floating around on X yesterday that was supposedly sent out to the U.S. Postal Service that told them to be aware of disruptions, whether it be pandemic or civil unrest. When it comes to civil unrest, I mean, what we just saw in Minnesota this week, of course, and now we have like the police chief of Philadelphia just went on TV and said that ICE agents are not allowed to do their job in her city, and she will kick them out if they're there. So I mean, that's sort of like sedition talk right there, right?
That's civil war status.
Yeah.
Speaking of Minnesota, we got Avi popping in, reposting.
Oh, let's go,
come on, Avi.
That's our boy. Yeah. Do you have a feeling for what kind of psyop we'll see this year? What kind of?
Well, I think it could be environmental. I think with the weather modification capabilities these days, as well as the directed energy stuff, like basically forest fires can be caused at any time. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that combined with the wind like we saw in California. Just a couple weeks ago in Washington here, we had a weather event which destroyed many of our highways. There was billions of dollars of infrastructure destroyed. People lost their homes. It was due to flooding and rain. And it was not reported in the national news. And from the little research I've done and just also looking up in the sky, it's pretty clear that this thing was impacted by the weather modification. So I think we're going to see a rise this year. This is my optimistic take. Everything else is bearish. I'm sorry, guys. Usually I'm an optimist. But I think we're going to see more states and jurisdictions ban chemtrails, and more people wake up to the fact that they're spraying these toxic chemicals in the sky, which are not only impacting our health negatively. There's aluminum, which causes Alzheimer's and MS and all these different things, but it's also killing the wild pollinators, destroying the trees, the forests. And out here in the West Coast, all of our forests are dying. And the experts, right, they say there's a beetle infestation. And it's like, guys, they're spraying toxic metals in the sky for year after year. Anyways, I'm going to get off my high horse. Thank you for the opportunity to bring up one of my favorite topics other than Bitcoin, which is the crime against humanity, which is chemtrails and geoengineering.
Oh, can we? Yes, is that pick two? Chemtrail ban?
Yeah, I think we're seeing ban on chemtrails increased. Not everywhere. And still, are you going to see chemtrails in the sky if, like Tennessee and Florida banned them? It's a difference between enforcing the law and actually passing it. But I think the Overton window in 2025 shifted on this and many other topics. And I think we're seeing a massive awakening on this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You go outside and you just see these streaks, crisscrossing each other, and you're like, that's not natural. But then you're afraid you'll be called crazy if you say that to anybody else, right? But no, there's something going on up there. And I mean, they've admitted to it too, right? Yeah. I mean, this is standard policy. So will they ban it? Interesting. I mean, we just saw the vaccine schedule get totally redone. So maybe there is hope that they'll come to their senses when it comes to
RFK said it's the biggest crime against humanity. We'll see if they follow through. So far, this administration hasn't followed through on too much, except for maybe the border.
Okay, I'm going to go a little bit out of left field here, but I'm going to say the death of the OnlyFans economy. I think 2026 is the year that AI gets so good and real that you are not going to need to pay an actual human being girl to take pictures of herself for your dirty little mind. So yeah, I think that this is going to completely collapse OnlyFans. It's just
Well, what are you predicting? The rise of like sex bots, basically?
yeah, AI. I mean,
AI.
Elon Musk just made a sex bot on Grok, right? So I think if you take that to its logical conclusion, as we're seeing on X as well, I mean, you can say put this girl in a bikini, right? It just take a picture of her and they'll just the AI will do it. So yeah, I think that OnlyFans models were going to be it's a multi-billion dollar industry, right? And that is going to go, I think, poof overnight this year.
Jody, you got anything on that? I got a quick comment.
Yeah, it takes you to a bad place of like people are just overstimulated now. Like, like Palmer Luckey has, had a good thing on TVPN that he got backlash for. But, the whole thought of like, we're put on this earth only to procreate, like humans, or like you're here to multiply and make other humans from a biological perspective. So all of like how humans are designed and like our drive and motivation and get up and like work hard and, fight people and have testosterone and adrenaline, it's just going to be so screwed up for the next generation if you just have AI generate some pleasure seeking thing that your eyes find pleasing, and it's totally different than actual like real life human interaction, and it's scary.
It's not only going to be that your eyes find it more attractive, but I think Rob, my fourth pick, I'm not going to take it because I get to comment on it now, but my fourth pick was going to be the robots, the physical devices where we've been subject to all these psyops, don't have kids. Also, financially, it's just very difficult to have kids. So people are getting married later. They're lonely. There's this epidemic of people that are struggling to find a real human being partner, right? And when these robots potentially this year could become, let's call it $1,000 or less, guys are going to be lining up. They're going to be pre-ordering these things. And to your point, Jody, are they going to be going out and meeting real humans and starting families at a higher or lower rate after that happens? I think it's part of the plan to attack humanity, especially the West, to limit the population or whatever the real reason is. I'm not going to speculate on that, but it's dark and it's coming.
Yeah, the robots are certainly coming. And yeah, will they be girlfriend robots? That's the real question. And I mean, Futurama has a great clip of this of don't date a human girl, date a human girl. Date a human girl.
They're better.
They're better. The human race needs it.
Yeah.
So this is going to, I think, flow into exactly what I'm going to do, which is, and yes, my first two picks were kind of vanilla, but now we're going to come in as proof of personhood on BTC.
Okay. Tell us more.
Yeah. So the idea being proof of personhood becomes like a use case, becomes, an actual something people seek out. You've seen timestamps protocol. You've seen who do we speak with? Simple Proof, who's using timestamps to basically put documents on the blockchain saying, hey, this document and these election results were made public here at this time, and these are finalized. No one can come back and change them. Mm-hmm. I think the same thing with identity. I think Bitcoin is very important for people to have privacy and control your wealth. But I also think with the rise of AI and these, deep fake bots, people are going to be looking for more real connection, verification of other humans. They're going to want something that is immutable and is decentralized to prove, hey, this person that you're doing business with, or, you're signing a contract with someone. If it's an AI agent online interacting, I would rather, be able to have some kind of verification to do so. I was putting a TV on Facebook Marketplace last night. And then in your brain, you're thinking of like, oh, like this person come in, scam. They see that like I'm selling a TV. This opens up, potential like OPSEC on like, where do I meet them instead of my house and address, all of this stuff. But if I was able to verify on chain, with some kind of Bitcoin like layer to say, hey, this person is, a real person that has done transactions before, mm-hmm. and, 1,000 blocks ago they had this sell and had a good rating. That would give me a lot of faith. So I think this becomes a use case. I don't think Zcash is. I think instead of Zcash being the privacy thing and people getting all like thinking it's going to be a huge future of like last year we talked about on like I think one of the first Friday stacks. I think in the opposite direction, if people are looking for verification, we need to do so in a way that protects your own privacy when we're verifying. We don't want like online KYC for everything. So if you're building this, let us know. Come on the show. Tell us about it.
Well, Saylor actually had this idea a couple of years ago, right? With like the
orange check
mark. Yeah. Saying
really?
Yeah.
I missed that totally.
Yeah, it was again, proof of personhood. He was actively advocating for it on Twitter, saying that you should just be able to pay a couple of sats to verify that you are an actual person, and then you'll have an orange check mark, and people will know that you're real and not a bot. So there's that. And I think that there's a big dividing line though between digital ID and this proof of personhood on Bitcoin, where it's individual based and driven. Because with the digital ID, I mean, that ties completely into the CBD system, and they're able to shut off your banking at a flick of a switch and be able to know exactly everything that you buy and do, and block you from access to certain events, places, and doing things. So, I mean, we're seeing a huge push for digital ID over in Europe, and it seems like the UK wants to go forward with that. And I mean, it's so funny, like they opened up the floodgates, anybody could come into the country, and then people in England started to get upset about that. So then they said, oh, okay, now the answer is everybody needs a digital ID, right? And so it's the classic problem reaction solution that we've seen many times before. The government creates a problem, then they offer you the people freak out about it, then they offer a solution that is worse than what you started with. So yeah, proof of personhood is going to be a big thing. I think also just in-person events in 2026 are going to be on the up. So yeah, what's your take, Kyle?
I think Nostr already does that. I don't really know. I haven't needed to use that at all. Like when I sell something on Facebook Marketplace, I see their rating, how many reviews they have. I see if they've been on Facebook since 2007, and then 99% of the time I'm going to trust them. So I don't know. I don't necessarily see the use case happening this year. Maybe further down the road. And
personhood.
I don't really see it myself, just because I haven't come across needing that at all, right, in my own life. So I'm not a technologist. I'm not a software guy. I could be completely wrong, but I think Nostr probably does this to some degree. It's not in the actual blockchain, but it doesn't necessarily need to be. And long term, our fee's going to be really high on the base layer, and then this type of stuff dies anyways. I don't really know. So
that's what we do here. We embrace debate. Nice. All right, I like it. But
Jody, I don't mean to disagree with everything you say.
You know,
yeah,
like Mike Wilbon and the other guy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, get a little crosstalk.
All right, Jody, you go again. Finish it up.
All right, so it's not financial advice, absolutely. Also, I have no indication or inside information on what's going to happen. So take this as a grain of salt that this is just a entertainment prediction. I think we see, unfortunately, another leader assassinated this year. I think that we've seen just the political rhetoric on both sides, even outside the US. I think there's been unrest. I don't think you can have situations like Venezuela happen and not see people in other countries, feel very concerned that they can be overthrown by the US, by, suddenly we become in Colombia, like you're going to, let's say there's opposition, that is anti-US. This is a rallying point for them. I think that this is something that says, hey, we don't want this big power coming in and controlling our, the wealth of the country, even though they're in a very bad system by itself. I think people get scared, concerned, and if the current leader in a particular country is friendly to the US for very logical reasons of not wanting to get overthrown, people within their country may disagree that they're weak or that they're not leading them in the right direction. So I think we see, yeah, I think we see another assassination this year. I have no idea what country that would be.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's topic this week, right? We just didn't assassinate, but kidnapped the leader of another country, almost as if he was a U.S. citizen, not even extraditing him, just literally going in and kidnapping him. And I think what we've seen in the Middle East, Rob, I said something like this on the show a couple of weeks ago, where it's just like, how have we not learned our lesson? That yes, in the week or the day where you execute one of these missions, or just looking at the first order effects, yes, okay, you got the guy, no American lives lost, great. But what's happening at a deeper level is now the precedent is being set for more U.S. expansionism into Latin and South America, which, what did that cause in the Middle East? Cause more anti-U.S. sentiment, right? The young people, I was not joking, but I was talking with a friend about this. I said, who's going to go knock on the doors in the favelas of Venezuela? Who's going to do it? Is it going to be young American boys? No, there's no way that is going to, I just don't see that happening. And if they do try and do something like that, yeah, it's, so I think, Jody, it's a great pick, because it's going to be these little strategic things. Oh, we're just only bombing one nuclear facility, or we're only kidnapping one guy. And it's really just a show of force to get everybody else in that country to toe the line, not actually like we're going to go, have boots on the ground in these places. So I just think it's we're in kind of the storm right now, where it seems like such a great thing. Everyone's cheering it on. And I think we do not want Western hemisphere born terrorists we just don't want that. It's not what we want.
So. I mean, it's undoubtedly true that we've seen the rise of political violence in the last couple of years. Of course, Charlie Kirk, 2 attempts on Trump in the campaign season in the lead up to 24. And even think about this, Shinzo Abe, right? The leader of Japan. That was a political assassination, right? In a country that is not known for violence or political unrest like that whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, we're entering into wonky times here, and that seems to be par for the course when in a fourth turning.
So Rob, you think the Butler shot was actually a bullet that hit his ear?
His ear healed magically fast for it to have been, right? So a lot of, and why do we know nothing about that guy whatsoever? Thomas Cook, I think is his name, right?
Cooks, yeah.
Like I mean, Trump's the kind of guy that would want that shooter to be plastered everywhere and say, like, look what I did to this guy, and he's just disappeared, right?
There seems to be no interest from Trump to go find and get to the bottom of who tried to kill him, right? Which you'd think, if you were the most powerful guy in the country, that'd be probably your first order of business. Let's find out who tried to kill me, then we can focus on other things. No, there's been none, and that's because this whole thing is theater, guys. I hate to be the first person if you haven't heard this before, but yeah, it's a WWE scripted purely for theatrics. And what's actually happening, like, we don't even know what happened in Venezuela, because there's been no real evidence shown to the public. We're just taking at face value what's been reported down the pipeline. So yeah, I think that's something. You keep your head on a swivel. 2026
theater is a good word for that. I think it's all encompassing of what happened.
And have you guys seen the clip where they usher over the photographers and they lower the flag, and then they keep Trump on the spot where he just got shot for like 10 seconds? He puts his shoe back on, and then you go, it's like, what I said, actually, I called it probably within 3 or 4 weeks. At first I was like, okay, that was real. Like, I watched it. I was actually on a plane coming back, and as the plane landed, everybody was finding out about this, and it was kind of like chaotic. I was like, I don't want to be on a plane right now. There could be, like, I thought maybe civil war was breaking out then. But after a few weeks, and you start to, like, these questions of how did he get on the roof? How did he have a rangefinder? Where did the ladder come from? They knew about him hours earlier. He's up there. People are filming him. All these unanswered questions. For me, it leads me to not be able to accept the official narrative.
Yeah, something weird happened that day. That's for sure. And speaking of something weird, my fourth prediction is UAP. Aliens. I think that's going to be a huge narrative. I think towards the end of the year, towards the end of the year, we're going to have some alien stuff, whether it's actually aliens or just a psyop, a story sold to us to keep us afraid and in line, and maybe sold a bill of goods we wouldn't take otherwise. I think that's is probably more likely than an actual alien visitation. But I do think there's weird stuff happening in our skies. At the beginning of last year, 2025, there was these drones over New Jersey, right? These quote unquote drones. And they were like, the weird thing is that some of them actually looked like drones and some of them were like balls of light. And there was actual footage of like them transitioning from a ball of light into a drone looking thing, right? There's some really weird things happening out there. And there's been no answers for that whatsoever, right? Trump was like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. They didn't say anything about it. And then the drones just stopped. But like, these were flying over New Jersey, man. People were seeing them with their bare eyes, just out over their houses in the middle of January in New Jersey. Like, what do they want in New Jersey, dude? But yeah, I think that's gonna be a big narrative this year. It feels like they've been sort of leading up to it. There's been this disclosure documentary that just came out featuring Marco Rubio, the new head of state of Venezuela, as well as a Disclosure Day movie coming out by Steven Spielberg this summer. So, as we said, theater, I think, is a good word. These things usually line up, and they usually do it on certain days to align astrologically and whatnot. So I think that towards this summer, we're going to see some weird stuff up in our skies again.
Excellent pick, Rob. U.S. psyop, that could be part of that. There's technology that we don't know exists, right? The military and the government, likely in the black budget, black ops stuff, they've got tech that we're going to find out about in 15 years. And so is what we're seeing in the sky technology that's controlled by humans or not? I've gone down the rabbit hole to some degree. There was a great Rogan episode this documentary Filmmaker was just on, and the evidence is overwhelming that there's been legitimate contact from some other non-human. This guy's thesis is that it's actually humans from the future who figure out time travel and they come back, and they talk about this paradox of, what happens if the human comes back and changes history. His theory is that actually they were always going to do that, and therefore it's not like it doesn't break the paradox. And the humans in the future face this issue where they don't have enough genetic material diversity of genes. So that's why a lot of the aliens, they're coming, they're probing you, they're taking your sperm. That's like a pretty common thing that you hear with these alien abduction things. And are they is it another dimension? Are they able to move through time and move at speeds that actually dilate time? I think that's kind of what we're looking at. And it just seems to make a lot of sense rather than like a physical alien species that's like over there, they come here. Like it's just kind of food for thought there, but great pick, Rob.
From another dimension. Yeah. Crazy. All right, Kyle, bring us home. What's your last one?
All right. I got a list here. I don't want to mess this up because this is the last one. I got off my chemtrails take. Did we have US like physical riots on there? I think we could see something like that. BLM riots come back, but maybe this time it's the Americans. I'm not going to go. That's not my pick. Oh, geez, maybe I don't have another good one. Oh, yeah, let's go. So I started off with bear, but I did write down realistically. I think this is the year where the Overton window starts to shift to 7-figure Bitcoin. I think we go back to 100+ K, and people they're just going to start targeting in. I think the rubber band, the TradFi stuff, everyone's sort of accepting that it's putting a damper on volatility. I think that rubber band could snap. It still could be a year of the bear, but I think we're going to see all-time highs. And I think the TradFi games are not going to work necessarily. I don't think we're just going to chop forever. I think this could be the year where we kind of see a little price rip. So I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but the real bull in me is thinking 7-figure Bitcoin Overton window.
So 7-figure Bitcoin.
Overton window 7-figure. I don't think we're actually going there, but I think it's going to be common discourse. Are we going to 180? Are we going to 160? Like, come on, guys. The price of Bitcoin is already known. It's infinity divided by 21 million. So we're spending time discussing something that's already known.
Do you think that there's like a mental barrier about 7-figure Bitcoin, that now that we've hit 100K, that people still don't think that 1 million is possible?
Well, to your point, right? I think the new buyers of Bitcoin, they don't look at 90,000 as expensive or prohibitive. They look at it as like a way better buy than gold or silver because it's a $2 trillion asset instead of a $30 trillion asset. So I don't think these big, big pools of money are going heavy into Bitcoin, but compared to retail, it's like the amount of capital that's moving. And so I think, yeah, you're going to see, we've already seen it was Matthew Siegler. They're talking various major institutions are already talking about 7-figure Bitcoin, but I think it's going to become more widely discussed. Like we're going to start to just think about, okay, is it happening next cycle or who knows? But yeah, 7-figure Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, if you're having all these institutions talk about a debasement trade and now they're selling it back to their clients of, hey, we can help you, build the right portfolio for currency debasement, then you obviously see gold and silver rib, you see palladium, platinum. It just follows. Even if you're not the biggest believer in Bitcoin, you're still seeing that the thesis is there, that Larry Fink's getting on the TV talking about that this is, a high beta play to gold, and should be in the long term. It's hard to think that like you wouldn't have exposure there. People are starting to increase the amount that they would say, from 2% to 4%, for something like a Morgan Stanley. And like, this is, I think, a good part of the discourse. Also, we talked about, I think yesterday, 7 figures US dollar terms is going to look a lot different. Like every starter home is going to be $1 million. And so it's not that crazy, and not to like damper like what 10 million of Bitcoin would be in the power law, but it may in purchasing power terms be closer to like 3 million.
Can I change it, guys? I'm sorry. I don't want to be, I just don't want this to live on the internet with me saying year of bear and 7-figure Bitcoin in the same. It's just ridiculous. Sorry. This is just for entertainment, guys, I guess. I don't stand for anything. Can I change it to COVID jabs continue to take lives? I think that's just like a nice one. It's just pretty much guaranteed. It's the evidence is now overwhelming. Family friend of mine just had a heart attack at 31 years old. 1-year-old baby, healthy otherwise. Yeah, it's just COVID jabs. It's going to continue. That's going to resurface. I mean, it is resurfacing if you're experiencing death or families experiencing death, but there you go. Sorry to get the YouTube channel little flag right there.
Yeah, it's wild. Again, that's another thing that's just dropped off the face of the earth, right? Like they don't talk about it. RFK, he got into power, and I mean, it is good that they're changing the recommendations, right? Like they were still recommending the COVID jab for babies up until a couple weeks ago. So thank God that's changed. But will there be any justice for this, for the whole entire debacle that was 2020, 2021? Doesn't seem like it. They just get to go and ruin the lives of a lot of people, permanently hold back the development of kids in many ways who had to suffer through that. It's where's justice for that? I don't think we're going to see it, which is tough for them.
Yeah, that would have been a great pick. No real accountability for anyone who's committed the massive crimes that actually the American people want accountability for. That would have been a good pick. Yeah. Epstein, COVID, where's the accountability? We got Chauncey Billups, right? Great. You got Chauncey Billups, you got just these, it's a complete, everyone's focused on the Minnesota fraud. Meanwhile, Epstein, they're doing Venezuela stuff. I always say distracto. Whatever they're showing you here, they're doing something else here.
Opioid crisis, I think there's zero accountability, from like a Purdue Pharma or any of these big pharma companies pumping out morphine and other, related drugs that get people like hooked early. And that's been something like people talk about. I think it's been good with the Maha movement and saying we don't need to get people on these painkillers early because it is a gateway drug that's very proven. But there's nobody's coming after these large organizations or the leaders that like profited off of them.
Yeah, and just to talk about the fraud, I saw a post yesterday that was like, okay, so the Somalian daycares were handing out a couple $1 billion, but Trump just announced that he wants to increase the defense budget by $500 billion, right? To go from 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion per year spent on defense. They're just printing this money, handing it out like hotcakes, and they are stealing your purchasing power. And that, of course, brings us back to Bitcoin. You need Bitcoin to protect yourself. And once you start going to Bitcoin, looking at this list, it was pretty conspiratorial, guys. But I think that's just what we are, what we do as Bitcoiners, right? That's our lean, and we're gonna lean into that.
Embrace debate.
Embrace debate.
$1.5 trillion budget. I like Trump even suggesting that. What is he doing? He's a negotiator. He's a deal maker. So what's he doing? He's saying, I'm going to put the goalpost here at 1.5 trillion, even though it's a 50% increase on the most insane military budget in the entire world. Now, when he gets a 10 or 20% increase, he gets what he wants. It is crazy. When there's a book, I read it in college, and it's by 3 authors. Spolsky is one of them. I should find it. But basically, they outlay that the United States could be just as safe, like our physical security, which is what the military is for, because of oceans, nuclear capability, and secure borders. So if we secure our borders, then that's one thing. We don't have a real threat of an external foreign army, right? We could have half the budget that we have of our military and have the same security. Actually, probably better security, because we wouldn't be knocking on doors in the Middle East creating more terrorists. So just the idea that who's going to pay for it, whose kids are going to go, right? Like at this point, it's I think Trump was put in place for a reason. I don't think he's the anti-establishment guy. And I think he is potentially trying to rile up, like a lot of the stuff that they're doing. It's almost like they're trying to make people mad and angry so that they can justify more, federal agents coming into these cities. I think that's all by intention and strategic. So yeah, it's dark, but we got to remain optimistic. Here's what I'll say: buying Bitcoin is a direct vote against this system. When you use fiat, you support this system. End of story. Like when you use Bitcoin, you are actively taking your time and energy away from it. That's what we're doing here, Rob. That's why I love the show so much. And Jody, why don't I kick it back to you? Because who's winning 21,000 sats? What's going on here? Take us home.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, point to that though, Lynn Alden has a great book, Broken Money. We have a link to it on the website. I think that was a really big thing that I actually tell, sister-in-law in Seattle. I'm like, hey, here's a really good thing about Bitcoin most people don't think of is, she tells a story about early World War I, these like British, war bonds, and, the government faked that they were actually being bought by the public. And essentially people in the UK lost half their savings through currency debasement just to go into World War I. If you knew that to go into Iraq or Afghanistan that you were going to take $20,000 or $50,000 out of your saving, no one in the right fucking mind would do that. No matter what side of the spectrum you're on politically. So I think in the same way, people should be looking at that budget and not saying hurrah, we should support our military, but we should also not grow our military unnecessarily. And don't think of, and you're taking that out of your kids' future savings, 20 grand, 50 grand, a second home, a vacation, because you want to jack it up now and then go out. And that's going to allow us to start more wars, or incentivize other people to start wars against us. And I totally agree. So I think having that, forcing us to be conservative is the piece of Bitcoin that is crucial, and being anti-war in a sense, because Bitcoin is anti-war in the sense that we don't want to print money. We don't allow people the ability to print money to go out and start unnecessary wars that aren't defensive.
Let's go.
I love it.
Broken Money, obviously it's classic. Everyone in Bitcoin knows it, but people outside of Bitcoin definitely share it with friends. I think she's an excellent author.
Wonderful.
Lynn's from Seattle? I didn't know that.
No, I was telling somebody in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
That why would they care about Bitcoin? I was like, oh, here's actually an interesting use case, or
Sure.
positioning. Why is because the more fiat currency you have, the more debasement, the more you can print money. That's money going towards these defense contractors, Lockheed Martin, Halliburton, etc., in budgets like these. And do you really want that? And people that are anti-Bitcoin, maybe on the left side of the spectrum, liberal, are like, oh, I definitely don't want to any more money going to defense contractors. So I'm against, government spending in that way. And I think it's a good way to align on something that is very positive of let's be anti-war in the sense of locking down to Bitcoin, not printing our currency.
Absolutely love that message. I've been saying that this actually could have been a good Rushmore pick, the year that the activist class figures out Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be a great day when that happens, when all that energy that you look at the world, there's all these problems. Yes, you want to go to the streets and protest. But if you don't understand Bitcoin, then you don't understand what's actually going to be at solving the root of this problem. You're going to be putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds. So yeah, I look forward to the day where we get all those rioters pro Bitcoin.
Yeah, that is the energy we need.
Not rioters, but just people that like genuinely want to see the world be a better place. I live here in Seattle, right? I go down the street, people are doing no kings protests. And it's like, I get it. Like, you're frustrated. You think the world's not going the right direction. And that for you is the way to make it better. I'm in the same boat, except I think it's, not a political solution. The system cannot be fixed from within. So,
yeah. So the giveaway today, the code is Kyle. Kyle,
let's go.
And we're just now telling you, I realized that we got into Mount Rushmore. So we'll keep it going. We'll keep the stats going. Let more people come in. Code is Kyle. I'm going to throw it up on the screen so that you guys just make it really easy for you.
Well, this is a benefit of listening to the whole show. The value's at the end, guys.
Yes.
These guys are reaping rewards. And I always love looking back at some of the little free stacks. Like you mentioned, you guys have a spin wheel. Like those things, yes, it's like 5-10 sats. But when you tell your kids about that one day, they're gonna be like, they were just giving out sats. It'll be similar to how we talk about the Bitcoin faucets back in the day. Oh, you could just click a button and get 5 Bitcoin. It's going to be like that. When I just got 100 sats, someone zapped me today. Like someone just sent me, like, in my mind, that's $100 or more. At some point, right? It's incredible. So yeah, stack small. Your grandma's advice to just, save over time actually works in the Bitcoin world.
Yeah. Friday
Bringing
stack.
it back.
We do it.
Friday stack. All right, let's wrap this baby up. That was a solid conversation. Kyle, you were a great guest to have on. I'm glad we got you on a subject that really fired you up and allowed you to show all the different conspiracies you have in that.
We're just getting started, Rob.
Cheers.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, everybody go check out Kyle. Follow him on X, on Nostr. Check out his podcast, We Are Satoshi. Great show.
What do you guys talk about on We Are Satoshi?
The idea is that Satoshi gifted us Bitcoin so we could bring our gifts to the world. I think that's what, once you like kind of get past the number go up stuff, it's like, okay, what are you doing with your life? And so I talk to people who have figured that out and that are putting their time and energy towards building something they're passionate about, normally aligned with Bitcoin. I've had a few non-Bitcoin podcasts, but for example, I had Rob on. It was one of my favorite shows for sure. All types of different folks. I'm doing a few interviews in Colombia next week. The podcast's been a little slow lately because I'm editing the film, but yeah, they're usually about an hour and a half. And yeah, just more curious about the other stuff other than the price.
Yeah, smart. What brought you to Colombia? Or do we need to find out?
It's a Bitcoin conference. Yeah, let me say this, because if you are anywhere close to Colombia or on the fence about going, it's going to be an awesome conference. I'm genuinely so excited for it. I fly down on Tuesday, the 16th and 17th in Medellin, Colombia. The organizers are awesome. Rainer, shout out. And John and Jeff Booth will be there. Brandon Keys, Ben Wehrman, bunch of great Bitcoiners. And Monica Bravo will be there. And so, yeah, if you're in the area, come on down. Colombia is really nice this time of year. I'm so excited to get some sun. You can see I'm pale as all get out up here. So, yeah, check that out last minute. And it's a good little trip to get some sun, hang out with some Bitcoiners. It's also just great steak down there, cheap, good food. So, yeah, thank you. I'm wearing the shirt right here from last year.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's tropical.
Yeah, they call it eternal spring down there. It's just spring all year, 70, 80 degrees and nice. Yeah, it's great. Awesome, guys.
Amazing.
Cheers.
All right. So everyone, 21race.com/stack, code Kyle. This is we'll keep it going for another hour. So we'll keep going till 2:30 Eastern. Want to make sure, we have enough people in there to win. If you don't win, just go to 21race.com/stack, join our newsletter, the Friday Stack. We're going to be like having little games, mini quizzes, things. You got to get your friends excited. You got to find the ways to talk to them this year. And 2026, I think, is the year that we stop talking in circles in the same Bitcoin crowds and we start to figure out what's going to be interesting to people. Oh, you see Venezuela? Okay, hey, here's how we're thinking about it from a community. Here's how you should be like storing your wealth so you don't get cooed internally.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Friday Stack. We are going to be live 5 days a week starting next Monday. Big things ahead. You're going to be seeing us a lot. Join on in, throw in some comments, win some sats, learn a thing or two, and let's have some fun. That's what we do here. Want to be a part of your routine? Come hang out with us. It's been a pleasure as always. Gentlemen, until next time.
Amazing.